Okay. Well, if I've not yet had the pleasure of meeting you, my name is Lauren McKellar. I'm one of the band directors here at Renner Middle School. I am in my 13th year at Renner. Gets better every single year. The jokes get worse, but I get better. And this year we're so grateful and lucky to have a new member of our band staff. This is Mr. Tyler Brinkman. If your child is in a brass class, he's their teacher. And then I wrangle all of our woodwind and percussion students. So we wanted to start by welcoming you to our first concert of the year, the 2018 Beginning Band Winter Concert. This concert is going to be a little bit different than the rest of the concerts that you're going to be attending from now until forever. Look around, start to learn some faces. Our hope is that you will be attending concerts with each other for the next 6 years or more, and we would love to see that happen. So this concert's going to be a little bit different because it is the very first time. We're going to kind of show you more, instead of just here's some music we prepared, we want to show you a little bit of a progression of our year so far. It's not as impactful where we are now unless we remind you where we started. So we're going to show you some first sounds, some early lines from our book. We're going to let every class play their own special feature today. So if your child is luckily back 6, 5, 7 row, you're still going to get to hear them play alone and see what they're up to. And then we're going to kind of end today with a nice big group piece. Also throughout the night, because I have you as a captive audience and you have no choice, I'm going to share some really important information with you about how to make sure your children are successful in band and enjoying band and how it's going to hopefully help them in the rest of their lives. So you're going to have a lot of information come at you tonight because you're not allowed to leave because you have to take them home when it's over. So we're going to start the concert by demonstrating for you the very first sounds that we ever made and worked on for several weeks at the beginning of the year. Okay? Woodwinds only. Set. Woodwinds. That took us like 2 weeks. For 2 weeks we did that because these first sounds are the most important thing to their developing tone, is getting these first sounds right. Brass, this is what they worked on for a while.
We start just a little bit quieter, but that's because the key to playing a brass instrument is you rely on just your ear. So that's why we start like that.
And then percussion. Ready, go. We did that on the floor, we did it on the chair, we did it on our drum pads, we did it on the wall. They were very concerned about their selection for electives when we spent an entire week literally knocking on the carpet to develop a consistent wrist stroke. And that's how we started. Okay, go ahead and reassemble. All right, oh, I turned it off. Can y'all hear me if I don't use it? I'm pretty loudmouthed by nature. Okay, cool. So for the next part of our concert, we're going to take you on a little bit of a trip down our progression through actually starting to play on our instruments. And these 4 lines we selected each have a purpose. The first one we're going to play for you is called Up and Down. It was the first 3 notes they learned. They had to go up them and then down them. This was their first playing test in most classes. So this was the first time your child probably came home crying and shivering. And then they learned it was going to be okay. So this is Up and Down. line 12 of their book. This one came about 2 weeks after the first one, and this was the first line they had to play where there were no rests between every note. So they were pretty convinced we were trying to kill them all, but they survived. And you will too. Here is take 5. Take 5, and a glorious thing happened. We turned a page and saw a song we knew. It was the first time that happened. They didn't even know what to do with themselves. We had all these stories about first grade and xylophone in elementary school. And you might recognize it too. This is Hot Cross Buns. The great classic. Okay, so we're now going to move on to our last kind of mini line for you tonight. This song is called Donkey Round, and what was special about this one is this is the first song that they had to perform in canon, which if you flash back to your own elementary school music days, is when everybody plays the same music, but you play it at different times. So the most common round or canon we all learned as kids was row, row, row your boat, right? So row, row, row your boat, row, row. You know how it goes. I don't have to sing for you. And so in this song, you're going to hear them play. It was their longest song up to date at this point, and it was also the first time they had to play at 3 different times from each other. So you're going to hear group 1, raise your hand, is going to kick it off, followed by group 2, followed by group 3. Okay? So please enjoy Donkey Renner. So here comes one of your first big info sessions here as they get ready to demonstrate their class features. So I want to take a really quick minute because I see a lot of faces in the room that I just have to pause. We are so lucky here at Renner to have a great support system, an administration, and a teaching team that believes in the importance of fine arts. I see Ms. Engelking is here tonight, our wonderful principal over there. She's waving at us. And I also see several staff members. If you're a Renner teacher, would you mind just kind of standing or waving? I saw some of you guys somewhere. Maybe they already left. Oh, there we go. We also have a guest with us tonight who's very important to me. This gentleman in the middle with all the cool gear. This is Mr. Valiant. He's a longtime band director in Play No, taught at Haggard for many years. In retirement, he has kind of adopted us as his pet project. He comes and helps us out all the time. works with our awesome little tuba section back there, and he's here tonight recording the concert for us so that the kids get to hear it tomorrow. On that note, if you have your cell phone still on, if you would just make sure it's silenced so that we don't have any additional musical interludes in our music. At this first concert, it's really important to me that you guys understand what I think is one of the critical things about band, which is above all their subjects, music is one of those things that your kids are only going to get out of it what they put into it, okay? The things that we learn in music are more than just about being musicians. They're supposed to be learning about discipline, teamwork, self-control, as you see. They're doing a wonderful job so far, aren't they, right? Okay, have you ever seen your kids sit that still? They're going to learn about what it means to fulfill your responsibility and your obligation to a group. And those are things that don't just make you a good band member or orchestra member, they make you good members of society. They make you good employees. They hopefully, at some point here soon, will make you good children, right? Okay, and so we believe in that very, very strongly. Just a really quick info thing here for you. Hopefully you've seen this before. Okay, so if you're wondering about a big part of your child's grade in band, we know they're all beginners. We're okay with all different levels of talent and ability. What we really emphasize is that daily effort that's going to make them better. And practice goes in a cycle. The more you practice, the better you get. So the cooler stuff you can do, so the more you like it. So the more you practice, and the better you get, and the more you like it. And it just spirals and spirals, and great things happen. Unfortunately, the wheel spins in the other direction too. The less you practice, the worse you get. The farther behind you fall, the less you enjoy it. So the less you practice. It's kind of like exercise. I've heard rumors. I don't know if that's true. And so some of your kids are spinning in this direction right now. You probably know who they are. You might even wish they would stop. And some of them are starting to kind of tip this way. And so this is a great point in the middle of our year to just make sure you guys know. At this time, the kids should be practicing about 15 minutes, 5 days a week. And it's really important that they do it over the course of the week. It's not something you can stockpile like studying. You can't practice for an hour on Sunday and do nothing Monday through Saturday and expect to get better. If they play that day, they got better. If they didn't play that day, they got worse. And it's because we're dealing with mental, but we're also dealing with physical muscles that they only use when they play their instrument. So if your child's practicing 5 or 6 days a week at home, they're probably progressing on schedule. If they're not, you might want to start kicking that into gear, with the exception of tuba players practicing here at school, not at home. They are supposed to write their minutes on this practice card every day. It's the first thing they see when they're open their binder. It's the last thing they see when they close it. They write their minutes. You should be signing these on Tuesday nights. If you haven't been, you've probably gotten several emails from us this year, because these are due every single Wednesday. And when they turn it in, they get their grade based on their minutes, and if they don't, they get a 0. Okay, so if you're wondering, how does my child have a 57 in flute class or trombone class? My first question would be, are they turning this in every week? Because if you get a double 100 every week, it's really hard to fill. And all they have to do is try. Okay, so just make sure that they're practicing with good habits, using a metronome and tuner, sitting in a chair, using their music stand. They look good, they sound good, and they're focused on getting better. And they are going to love making music for a really long time. Okay, spiel over. We're now going to feature each class individually, starting with our highest pitched instruments, working down to the lowest pitched instruments. If you guys are gathered at the door, you're more than welcome to come on in and find a spot over here on the floor or over on this wall. We're going to start with our woodwind class.
We'll start with the flutes. Blessing of the candles. 3 class, that's the oboe and bassoons with Hanukkah Otan.
That would be.
Why? Oh.
Apparently there's like 19 ways you can spell Hanukkah, so I just used whatever the music said.
Next one, the clarinets with Frosty the Snowman. Next we have the saxophones with Jingle Bell Rock.
family of the band. Some of the sections attempted duets, which is really complicated for players their age where you have two different parts going on at once, so that's pretty cool. Now we're going to move into our brass family of instruments, again, from the highest pitch to the lowest pitch. So this is the trumpet class, and they'll be performing up on the house. Okay, now we're going to move into the horn section, and they'll be performing one you'll probably recognize, Ode to Joy. Trombone, tuba, and euphonium players, and they'll be performing Jolly Old Saint Nick. Foundation of any good band is the bass section. Okay, so now we're going to move into our percussion section. If you've noticed, the percussionists in the back of the room, they've got a little bit of a tough job on the first concert because they don't get to learn one instrument like all their friends do. You might have noticed these guys have been running around back and forth. They have to learn keyboard instruments, drums, a variety of little accessories. And one of the things that would happen is I would teach percussion class year after year. We have this big cabinet of random percussion accessory instruments. And kids, every time I sent them to the cabinet, would come back with an assortment of things. What does this do? What is this for? What is this thing? And it would make me nuts because there's no music for like any of it, right? And so several years ago, I decided to just write a little piece for them that would let them use a lot of those cool toys. And I kind of based this on an actual true story from my childhood. You know, everybody has their traditions and their beliefs. And in my house, Santa would usually wrap presents. But there was one year my brother had kind of a special surprise. He was brought a train. And instead of it being in a box and wrapped, it was set up around our tree when we came downstairs on Christmas morning. And in each little car of the train, as it was running, there were separate little cool toys for him. And so this piece is kind of meant to bring that back, and you'll hear trains and you'll hear a variety of other sounds that just replicate an assortment of toys on Christmas morning. So this is Percussion and Parade of Toys. Before we conclude our concert with our grand finale, where we're going to put all the pieces together here, I wanted to talk to you about something else I obviously care a lot about. Band or choir or orchestra in Plano is a one-year requirement. However, our hope is that your children have loved their music experience so far and that they want to continue with it. And Plano ISD, as aggressive as they are with academics, they have done their research about how music education helps with academics and standardized testing and commitments, and they have to be eligible to compete, and so they want to pass their classes. And so Plano has made sure that every degree plan they offer, no matter how aggressive your child decides to be, they have room for music in their schedule. Now, in a few weeks, they are already going to be receiving their elective selection cards for next year. I know it feels like you just signed up for this year's classes. And it's really awesome in 7th grade. They have a lot more choices. And their instinct is going to be to go, oh my God, 20 new choices, I want to do them all. And the cool thing is they can over the next 6 years. They cannot take every class they've ever been interested in their life in the fall of 7th grade. And so there is time and there is room, and Plano has made sure that it's possible for them to continue with music as they go through all their aggressive academic plans. So feel free to ask us questions. Band in 7th and 8th grade is a little bit different. We don't do instrument classes anymore. They actually get combined into full band. Every single day they get to do this. We would have learned a lot about playing our instruments by then, so we get to play a lot more music and a few fewer exercise type things. So if they enjoy this tonight, this is band every day next year. And we can make that work for anybody. You just have to be willing to ask me how to make the pieces fit. I'm very good at that part of the game. Okay, so feel free to contact us. Speaking of contacting us, we have 2 ways that we can communicate with you guys. If you grab these on your way in, there's a little yellow and a little white paper. First of all, the white one has to do with charms, which is how we email you. If you got an email from me today that said, we're so excited to see you at the concert tonight, we have your email in our database. If you did not get that email from me in your junk or your clutter, check. There's instructions on this white sheet of how you can log in, update your email, change it, correct it, or add new email addresses. Also, we are rolling out, Mr. Brinkman designed us a brand new band website. So if you're a returning parent and you don't like charms, we now have a Google site for you with all of the same information, calendar, important forms, anything you need. So make sure you grab that. And then also on the yellow sheet, we have some upcoming events for you. Now, your kiddos have 2 opportunities the next 2 nights to boost their grade. Tomorrow in the cafeteria at 6 o'clock, our 7th and 8th grade bands are performing. If they come and watch that, 6 o'clock tomorrow, there's a little form called the Extra Credit Review Form. It asks them some questions. They have to be there to answer. They can get 100 as a test grade. Okay? Thursday, Plano West has their winter concert. It's at 7 at Plano West. They can go to that and earn extra credit. But in addition, all year long, they can get extra credit by you taking them to any upper level music performance. If you want to go hear the Plano Community Band or the Dallas Wind Symphony or the Fort Worth Opera, anything, the UT Wind Ensemble, any college, high school, or professional group you take them to that are classical musicians, they can get 100 for a test grade by answering 3 questions about it for us all year long. So we'd love to see you guys come out to some of those performances. And then we also threw a few little other fun things on there just for you to make sure you have it on your calendar. Okay. Before the kiddos can leave after this next piece, they are going to need to stack their own chair and their own stand. And I've got that down to a system. It usually takes me about 6 minutes if everybody stays out of the way and they actually listen. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of staying back out of the setup until we clear this area, we're going to get them out to you really, really quickly that way. If you're standing against the wall over here, all of this is going out that door. So if you would just please make sure that by the end of this song, you are somewhere else. And if I have any returning like high schoolers in the audience, band students, oh look at them, yay. If you guys would like to come down at the end of the song and meet on either end to help them rack their chairs and stands for the first time, we would really appreciate that. Guys, we are so lucky to get to do what we do every day. We appreciate you giving us permission to teach and mold and shape your children. We are having a great year with them. I hope that you are impressed tonight, that you've enjoyed your time, that you have a wonderful, safe holiday season with your family. Our last song of the night is called Holiday Array. It's a bit of a mashup. It includes a Hanukkah song, a Kwanzaa song, and a Christmas song. And it involves all the instruments, and they all have different parts now. So this is the kind of thing that we'll be working on from here on out as we get ready for the years to come. So thank you all so much for being a nice and respectful audience. This is Holiday Array.
Yeah.
Perfect.